Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this, the full council meeting on Thursday, 25th September 2025 at 4 o'clock. This meeting is hybrid and we do have participants joining the meeting remotely. It is being streamed live and stored for later viewing. I can suspend the webcast if I consider that it will affect the proceedings. A recording of the meeting will be published on the council's YouTube channel. If there are any motions or amendments, they would need to be moved and seconded as usual, as votes may need to be by roll call vote, as we have members online. I'm not expecting any votes, however. I will be flexible within reason on the length of time people can speak due to circumstances. I would also remind members that just please indicate if you wish to speak, and also if you could bring the microphone nearby. Okay, item number 1. Are there any apologies for absence?
We've received apologies from Councillors Pragnell and Wallace, Provost.
Thank you very much. Item. Oh, sorry, Councillor Buchanan.
Apologies from Councillor Conbury and Bamforth. I'm not sure if Councillor Bamforth maybe can't get in, but apologies in anyway.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Buchanan. Item 2, the Council's Code of Conduct requires elected members to declare any connection they may have in any of the items on the agenda. Are there any declarations of interest? None indicated. Okay, thank you very much. Item 3, 2024-25 Annual Accounts and Draft Annual Audit Report for East Renfrewshire Council, and that's on pages 3 to 222 of your papers. I'd like to invite Councillor Morrison, who is Chair of the Audit and Scrutiny Committee, to speak to the report, and also to let you know that Kirsty Stanners, Head of Finance, Chief Financial Officer, and other members of the corporate management team, together with Rob Jones and Grace Scanlon from our external auditors, are in attendance if there are any questions. But first, Councillor Morrison.
Thank you for that, Provost. I'm pleased to say earlier today the Audit and Scrutiny Committee reviewed the audited annual accounts for the Council and heard the external auditors' comment on their findings. Members of the committee had their opportunity to ask questions, and I'm delighted to report that the external auditors and Council staff have again managed to complete this exercise in line with the required deadline of 30th September. This is an extremely demanding annual exercise and represents a tremendous effort from both the finance and the external audit teams, and I'd like to extend my thanks on behalf of the committee and the council to both teams who have worked so hard to deliver this, particularly when we have had some senior personnel changes during the past year. Once again, we are pleased to report that the accounts have been awarded an unqualified, which means clean, audit certificate, and have no unadjusted errors. The financial statements show that the Council operated within budget and returned a surplus of £2.5 million during the year. This is in line with the surplus reported to Council during the financial year. At 31st March 2025, the balance on the non-earmarked General Fund Reserve is £8.84 million. This is 2.5% of the Council's budgeted net revenue expenditure for 25-26, so well within the target range of 2% to 4%. The auditor's report is largely positive, but as always, various audit findings are listed, and it's extremely unusual for there to be no findings at all. These can be found on page 210 of Councillor's papers in Appendix E, and it also includes an action plan completed by Council officers to address the points raised. Provost, I would therefore now remit the accounts and annual audit report to Council for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Morrison, and it's always nice to be appreciative and give praise, so I'm sure that's echoed throughout the chamber to join in with your praise of all the officers concerned. Thank you for that. Now, are there any questions? None indicated. Can we agree the recommendations on page 3? Agreed? Thank you very much, colleagues. Now on to item 4. Questions to conveners. So first of all, there's a question from Councillor Andrew Morrison to the Leader of the Council, and this question is printed on the main agenda. So I will now invite Councillor O'Donnell, Leader of the Council, to respond to the question. Councillor O'Donnell.
Thank you, Provost, and we have a handout which will be sent out, and I'll explain that in a moment. So thank you, Councillor Morrison, for your question. The survey of mobile phone coverage that was announced earlier this year was part of a Glasgow City Region programme known as the Smart and Connected Social Places programme. The programme consists of 4 core projects covering connected digital transformation in social housing and health and social care. These core projects are underpinned by the asset-based connectivity project. This includes, within its scope, a survey of 5G coverage throughout the region and then liaising with industry to fill identified gaps. The survey is the largest of its type in Scotland. To carry out the survey, members will know that devices were installed in bin lorries that travelled throughout East Renfrewshire and monitored 5G coverage. Data was gathered about the strength of signal from the UK's 4 mobile operators, EE, Vodafone, 3 UK and O2 Virgin Media. The survey is now complete. Glasgow City Council Telecoms Unit have led the mapping project for regional partners. They have established relationships with the telecoms providers and have flagged gaps and areas of poor coverage to network operators. Mobile network operators Vodafone and 3 UK have confirmed that they have current plans to deploy infrastructure in this area to improve coverage in Newton Mearns and Clarkston. Additionally, the recent business and network merger of Vodafone and 3 UK, now Vodafone 3, will see a significant investment in their networks across the UK. Vodafone 3 will invest £11 billion over the next 10 years, creating one of Europe's most advanced 5G networks, giving millions of customers and businesses up and down the country a vastly superior mobile experience. Mobile network operator VMO2 and EE have also indicated that they have plans to improve coverage in these areas. A follow-up survey is planned as additional funding has been secured as part of the Smart and Connected Social Places programme. A timescale has not yet been agreed. As already stated, Glasgow City Council has a dedicated telecoms unit resource that seeks to address weak areas of coverage. ERC officers will continue to work with that service to support and address coverage issues. Now, the handout that I gave you is really for illustrative purposes. If you go on to the web link that's on the handout, you can choose your specific area that you're interested in and the specific mobile network operator. So I think it's a very helpful guide, and this is in the public domain, so feel free to share it with colleagues. As you see from the example in front of you, you've got red hexagons. That's where it says no network available, and that is round Crookfor, which, as we know, is an area of concern to residents. That's the end of my response. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Donnell. So I have to advise that in terms of Standing Order 26, after a member receives a reply to their question, they may ask one follow-up supplementary question, but it must relate directly to the original question. No debate or discussion is allowed on either the original or supplementary question. Councillor Morrison, do you wish to ask a supplementary question?
Yes, please, Provost.
Please proceed.
Provost, I'd just like to begin by thanking the Leader for such a fulsome response. We do share a ward area, and this is very relevant, and I welcome what's been said. The supplementary is, does the Leader undertake to hold the mobile networks responsible in the years to come if they do not deliver on the investment which has been referred to in the response the Leader provided? Thank you.
Clearly, we cannot control where mobile operators install their infrastructure, but we can influence. And as I stated in my response, that is something that we're doing at a city region level and having this independent survey is part of that, and providing the evidence of where there are gaps in the network. So we cannot control when or how they implement their infrastructure, but we can certainly encourage.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next item, the question from Councillor MacDonald to the Convener of Health and Social Care. This question is printed on the agenda, and unfortunately Councillor Pragnell is not able to attend, so I would now ask Councillor O'Donnell, the Leader of the Council, to respond to the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost. And as you said, unfortunately, the Convener for Health and Social Care, Councillor Katie Pragnell, who's already given her apologies, cannot be here today, so I am answering the question in her absence. Since the amendment agreed at full council in February, the HSCP has undertaken significant work to progress this. This includes extensive engagement with residents through drop-in sessions, written and video communications, collaboration with third sector providers, and staff training and development of robust processes. Elected members have received regular written updates throughout, and there was a full members briefing session on this topic on Tuesday of this week in preparation of the forthcoming council paper. The council's Money Advice and Rights team, MART, has supported the HSEP by carrying out income maximisation and financial assessments as requested. These are ongoing. I'm pleased to share that our income maximisation work is already making a real difference for residents. While it's early days and we're working with a very small sample, the results are incredibly encouraging. People who've gone through a financial assessment and income maximisation review are seeing the real value of the process. On average, they are seeing an annual income increase in excess of £5,000, and for some, significantly more than that. That's thanks to support with universal credit transitions, council tax discounts, new benefit claims, and more. This work is helping people feel reassured that they're getting everything they're entitled to, and we want more residents to come forward and benefit. A huge thank you to our brilliant MART team for their dedication and significant impact on people's lives. Of the 515 people identified as being in scope for charging, all have received 3 letters. Over 100 people have engaged through drop-ins and equalities and rights sessions. 67 have contacted MART for a financial assessment, and 15 assessments are fully complete. The remainder are in progress. Despite significant efforts to engage local people, there has been an understandable reluctance to fully engage with financial assessments at this time. There has been a tendency for potentially impacted service users to want to wait for a full and final decision before disclosing their financial details. A comprehensive report will be presented to full council in October, with papers published to the council website on 14th of October. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very full progress update, Councillor O'Donnell, on behalf of Councillor Katie Pragnell. Councillor MacDonald, you're allowed 1 follow-up question, but it must be based on the original question. Do you have a question?
I do. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, just to remind you, it must be on your original question, the progress update that Councillor O'Donnell has just given you a full report on. So is your question based on that question?
Yeah, I'm quite well aware of that, and yes, it is.
Carry on, please.
Thank you very much, Councillor O'Donnell, for your comprehensive reply to my first question. I just wanted to know, have the individual financial assessments indicated whether initial estimates of net revenue to be yielded from these charges changed at all? And if less, will these planned charges on the most vulnerable be scrapped?
I think you'll need to repeat the question. I'm not sure I fully captured it.
Sorry, let me repeat.
Please.
Have the individual financial assessments indicated whether initial estimates of net revenue to be yielded from these charges changed at all? And if less, will these planned charges on the most vulnerable be scrapped?
I will bring in the Chief Executive of the HSEP in a minute. This was actually fully discussed at the members' session on Tuesday, and the assumptions that were discussed confirmed that the income to be generated would be in line with what was previously stated to Council. But I'll let Alexis come in case I've got anything wrong there.
So, Councillor O'Donnell, just to confirm, that's exactly the position, is the original assumptions and modelling have been verified by the financial assessments coming into place.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Moving on now to the question to the Convener of Education, and I'll hand over to Councillor Anderson. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost, and thank you to Councillor MacDonald, as your question is actually a timely one, as East Renfrewshire currently has a live consultation ongoing where we are asking children and young people, parents and carers and all staff in our schools to share their views around mobile phone use in East Renfrewshire schools. The consultation considers several key themes, including communication, learning and teaching, safety and child protection, well-being and school policy. I can advise you that the strength of feeling in this area is already evident, as demonstrated by the excellent response, with currently over 6,000 responses. We also have just over a week of the consultation still to run. Generally, it has been widely acknowledged that smartphone use can bring benefits to a pupil's education experience through enabling access to interactive learning platforms which enrich the curriculum and help pupils to develop essential digital skills such as responsible internet use and online communication. However, I understand that there are concerns about the negative impact of smartphone use in schools, such as distraction and reduced focus during lessons, a negative impact on mental health and risks associated with cyberbullying and also peer pressure. In seeking to update our approach in East Renfrewshire, it will be important that we base this on the latest evidence. It is worth noting that the research available provides a range of evidence on both sides of the argument. These are some examples. There are many others. I would encourage yourself and anyone else with an interest in participating in the consultation to carry out their own research when considering their submission. Firstly, the British Medical Journal conducted a recent study that linked smartphone use in young people aged 13 to 16 with increased anxiety, depression and sleep disturbances. And in 2024, Psychology Today reported that smartphone use in schools is associated with higher rates of anxiety, loneliness and depression, and pupils whose phones were removed during class showed lower anxiety and higher mindfulness. Conversely though, the University of Birmingham conducted a study in 2025 comparing schools with restrictive versus permissive phone policies, and they reported that the overall mental well-being scores were similar actually across both groups. They found that restricting phone use during school hours did not improve student outcomes, and that the issue lies more with overall screen time, not just in-school use. While restrictive schools saw less phone use during school hours, this did not translate to lower total daily or weekly screen time. Young people simply shifted their usage to before or after school, suggesting that school bans shift usage rather than reduce it. In the same study, 87% of teachers reported that out-of-school digital activity often spills into the classroom, and this highlights the need for schools to teach children and young people to use technology responsibly. As I am sure you will agree, families also play a crucial role in shaping digital habits, as without consistent boundaries at home, school bans would lack effectiveness. It is for this reason that our Children's Services Partnership are including responsible use of technology as a key area of focus in the new East Renfrewshire Council parenting strategy, which is currently being developed. Given the varied and at times conflicting evidence and research, it is of vital importance that we wait to hear the voices of our community before making any decisions regarding mobile phone use in our schools, and the ongoing consultation will allow us to do just that. I would, however, like to reassure Council that whilst we await the outcome of our consultation, there is a range of other data, which includes external scrutiny, that highlights that the overall well-being and educational experience of our children and young people in East Renfrewshire continues to be an area of focus. And in fact, even just earlier today, Education Committee had the opportunity to reflect on the outstanding performance of East Renfrewshire schools in a range of areas, including attendance, primary attainment and secondary attainment. And members will also recall that in my statement at the last council meeting, I highlighted our recent S4 to S6 results. Finally, I look forward to seeing the outcome of the consultation and how this translates into Education Department and school policy. In the meantime, I would encourage any parents or staff that have not completed the consultation to do so. It is vital that they help to shape the updated approach. Thank you, Provost.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson, and for advising us that there already is an ongoing consultation. Thank you. Councillor MacDonald, do you have a question?
I do, thanks. And that was to, obviously, we've had this consultation in response to, I'm not sure what has instigated it to have the consultation, but clearly there are a number of different ranges of outcomes that will happen as a result of them. And I guess the question is that it will either be the status quo of what we have right now, as we have in place. There could be a ban considered. And then thirdly, there could be some changes to the status quo that we have right now. So I guess the question I have is, what would be a likely outcome in terms of changes that would be made if a ban was not implemented? Thank you.
Could I ask, through you, Convener,
Yes,
for Siobhan to answer this?
I believe it would be more appropriate for Siobhan in terms of like a head of service in the Education Department to talk about any potential changes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Siobhan.
Thank you for that question. I suppose the first thing to mention is we don't know what potential changes will be made until we have the results of the consultation. It still has a week to run, and then obviously we'll spend some time analysing that, and there will be lots of rich data given the number of responses we have there to analyse. In terms of potential changes, it really will depend on the outcome of that. I know that across Scotland, different authorities have a range of different approaches. You've mentioned a complete ban. I know that in some local authorities, mobile phones are kept in a safe place, and children and young people are allowed them at the end of the day. In other instances, they are brought out for specific lessons. There are questions very much directed to what effective use would be and or potentially not be, and that will help us inform the approaches we take, but it's probably too early to say at the moment what those would be. Thank you.
Councillor.
Thank you, Provost. Thank you, Siobhan. And ultimately, the policy or whatever changes will come to Education Committee, and that's where the correct scrutiny will be given and applied, and well, that'll be up to the committee to decide whether to approve or amend the changes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for the sake of viewing public, Education Committee can be viewed online, and also all the papers and policies and things that are in these reports are also available online for anybody to read and be informed. So thank you very much, everybody. That concludes the business of today. I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you.